It is exciting to have the new head coach of the Glasgow Clan and head of hockey operations, Corey Neilson, on Clan Chat. Your first of many Clan Chats, no doubt, but you're coming to us from GB camp, so it's extra special as you prepare for the World Championship. So first of all, Coach, thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on and have a chat.
No worries. It is a busy schedule right now. Pete's doing his thing. We're on the ice twice a day. So yeah, a lot of coach meetings. It's actually a really fun time for coaches as well. As a head coach, you don't particularly get a lot of information. Usually, it's on your own stuff, and here it's nice to share ideas and concepts and learn and grow as a coach as well. So it's obviously Chuck Weber, Ewan's here, and Pete. It's really a good time for me as well.
It's a really experienced coaching group as well, from NCAA hockey to both you and obviously Pete having lots of experience in Germany and places like that. So when you get together, it must be the first few days must be a lot of sort of picking each other's brain. It must be a lot of fun.
Yeah, brainstorming concepts, ideas. We pretty much, Pete and I play a similar brand. We kind of both kind of adopted it and made it our own in different ways, but it's pretty similar how we like to play, which is fast and aggressive and a lot of pressure, both in the offensive zone and without the puck. So yeah, and then obviously Chuck brings his little balance to it. He's taken over the penalty kill this year, so and then brings obviously a wealth of experience. And it's fun just sharing drills and ideas and things, how we communicate our messages, different wording, and all kinds of nerdy coach stuff.
Well, it's not nerdy, it's fascinating. You and actually, I talked a little while ago, and some of the things you talked about, D-zone coverage, I find it fascinating. We won't get into X's and O's tonight, but I know one thing that the Purple Army would love to hear, and you kind of touched on it there, is just kind of what can they expect from the Glasgow Clan, sort of the style and sort of the compete level? What will you be bringing to the table?
Well, it all depends at the end of the day what we end up getting in terms of personnel. You try and, identify, what you want in terms of players, in terms of an identity and a group of players, and then bring in players capable of obviously performing in the systems and, sub context you want them to go through. But it's, once you get them and all together, you finally see, how connected they are and, if they're actually able to do what you want. And then after that, you figure out, how many bodies we have and how injured we are and do we have to slow down, speed up. But for me, my preference has always been to play super fast, super aggressive, get players up ice into the forecheck and get some confrontation. That's, in my opinion, that's what's missing in hockey a lot of the times. And if you can get people who want to compete, then it makes other people's the opposition team's job a lot harder, right? So obviously, when you're flying around the ice and their speed, then you're forcing them, to make decisions faster, and that leads to mistakes, and speed causes all kind of problems. And then when you layer that with that layer of confrontation, then you become, very good.
I think the Purple Army would be delighted to hear that. Let's rewind a little bit to sort of the conversations. Obviously, it's not the finish that anyone, whether fans or management or ownership, would have wanted for the Clan last year. Just not good enough, and so we'll wipe the slate clean there. And we have those chats and whatnot. When you see an opportunity like that, I mean, what's the first thing that goes through your mind when you go, okay, there's an opportunity to come back to the elite league and close to home for your Joanne, your wife, has got a Scottish connection, of course. So it's an opportunity in many ways, I guess.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it's been, I've actually had some tough coaching assignments, some tough seasons over the last, bunch of years. And, as a coach, you have to reflect on, what you could have done better, what you learn from the situation, how you can improve. And at the end of the day, I've learned a lot over these past years, being fired, different situations, different cultures. The biggest thing I learned is, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but, at the end of the day, if you don't have the talent, if you don't have the players who are willing to put in the work or want to learn or compete, and they don't have pace, then doesn't matter what you drop on a coaching board or how much you yell at them. I mean, if they're not capable, if they can't score, for instance, you're not going to win very many hockey games. I mean, we had seasons like Dresden was a great example last year. We had the best penalty kill in the league when I got fired. I think we were 3 points out of second place and I got fired, but we were the lowest scoring hockey team, in the entire league. And when you can't score, you just don't win. And you can look at it, situationally, were we getting opportunities? Were we getting chances? Were we creating great A's? And we were. These guys just couldn't score. And it's one of those things as a coach is frustrating. But for me, it was the whole coming back into this country and coming back into the elite league. It's the best part about it was, I was building a team. I was building teams in Nottingham that were champions and championship level teams. And, that's, I'm not saying that, all of a sudden Glasgow is going to go from, 10th to first, because that's unreasonable. But we certainly want to be better, and we want to bring in something where we can build upon to get to that stage at some point. And that challenge is really, I'm really excited about that.
So the ability to come in and put your stamp on something,
Yeah,
go and find your guys, if you will, and not inherit a team that maybe you inherited a team in Dresden, for example. You come in, you start to build something, you mold something to the style and the systems that you want to play.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's exciting because that's sort of I'm sure what fans want to know is, as you say, they're building upon something and sort of making it your own, whether it's the confrontation side. It's a good point by you, because I don't know if we talked a little bit off camera about it, but the game has certainly changed from when you were a player and a player coach, especially in the elite league. And I mean, you had guys like Cam Jansen, and you always had some confrontation and whatnot. But the game has really changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Well, the game's changed. The game's changed, obviously, with checks to the head and certain things with concussions and all that kind of stuff. They're crazy hot button topics. So big hits and big hits to the head, or so you have to really be careful with your confrontation and do it the right way. But more importantly, the athletes themselves have changed. So the players, obviously, I hate doing this with my players, but you always look at and reflect to when I played. But that was 15 years, 20 years ago. When I played, it was confrontation. Like, it was pure confrontation. I mean, I would get punched in the face every game. And that just doesn't happen nowadays. I've had players, really good players, really kind of aggressive players ask me how to get into a fight. And I look at them, I'm like, well, just go punch him in the face and you're in a fight. And it's something as simple as that. And I'm not saying fighting or this or that, but it's they almost, because confrontation in society, people don't like confrontation, just even in the workplace, anywhere. Um, they don't, they're not used to it. They don't know how to do it. And for me, it's always been just natural. It's part of life. In Canada, we're competing for a peewee team. It's not just the best player make, like, you have to actually battle to work and make something. So that's what I think. He's building a culture in Glasgow that you have to work hard for what you get every day. Just don't just walk in and I'm a first line power play guy. Well, no, if you actually don't block that shot, or you're not playing hard, or you're being a jerk to your teammates and not supporting the group, then yeah, you're going to go down, and somebody else is going to get rewarded for doing things the right way. And I think that's the only way you can run it. Not everyone you treat equal, and I'm a big believer in that. Not everyone's equal, because different people have different skill sets, but I think it's important to treat them fair, and that's what I'm going to try and bring.
So accountability, that fairness, work hard, and you'll get more minutes. I mean, those are sort of keystones to hockey. When you talk about the Challenge Cups and the playoffs and the league and the Continental Cup, and I remember fondly, I was calling the games when you coached the Panthers into the knockout stage of the Champions Hockey League, which at that time, when we were competing in that tournament as a league, you'd be happy to get a win. And here
Yep.
you were coaching out of the group stage. So there is a lot of experience, and you must look back at that and say, like, we did a lot with a little. For
Mhm.
example, I mean, the elite league has come a long way, I guess, is my point. And when you look back at last season, and then you look at the opportunity coming in Glasgow, are you kind of, you've been over in Europe, and you've won a DEL2 Coach of the Year as well, so you've had that success. Do you look at how the league has come on leaps and bounds as well here in Great Britain?
Yeah, I was actually 2 years ago when I came back and just finished the season with Nottingham. I was really surprised. I thought, for one, people are probably not going to like this, but I thought the refereeing was better. Um, Surprisingly, the refereeing was a little better. The game was much faster. Just when I had Nottingham, we first went from um, basically two lines of imports and a third line of Brits that we throw out every little while just to rest the imports so they can get back out on the ice. And I thought this game is so slow. So when I finally became coach, I just put a Brit on every line. So then we had three lines, and it changed the pace of the whole game and the evolution of that. And then pretty soon, we were beating teams in the third period handily all the time, and everyone had to adjust what they were doing. So they put a Brit on every line. And then from that, the Brits got developed. They played way more. And then eventually it snowballed into Europe where we went to four lines. And then all of a sudden, everyone started to not just 10 forwards, they started to carry a little bit more. And now it was a four line league for a while. And it's gone back. Some certain teams still play three, certain teams play four, but the championship level teams are playing four. And they're really, it's pace, it's pace, it's pace. And you just can't run out, two, three sets of forwards and expect to play with speed, to play fast. So and that's the biggest thing, watching, the really good teams, the Sheffields, the Cardiffs, Belfast. These teams play with an abundance of pace. And if you don't have the bodies and you don't have the structure associated with that, it's going to be hard to be competitive. You can beat them for sure. You can beat them. Anybody can beat anybody, and that was the fun part of the Champions League and these kind of things. But not consistently.
So with all that experience, you're sitting in the Glasgow Clan box there at playoff final weekend. You're watching Sheffield complete the Grand Slam or the treble after the Giants did it last year, and you're thinking, all the experience from your days in the Elite League and coming back to help the Panthers out to the playoff final weekend in that sort of half season, but also being away and doing your thing abroad. Do you sit there in that clan box and go, okay, the league is so much better, and I'm a better coach because of those experiences as well. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say. I mean, the league is much better. The league is, that's the quality of the import players has risen substantially. The amount teams are paying them has risen, and not just with inflation. It's we're getting it's more of a desirable destination for players to come to. I mean, to go to school or to raise a family with English speaking schools. There's a lot of benefits to the league, and the league is strong now. You're getting high level players coming in, and then it rubs, and they tell their friends it's a great situation. You can go here, and it's just kind of trended in that way. And certain other countries have struggled with money and different things. So it's funny. It just goes in cycles. All these different leagues. But right now, the UK is a really viable option for young players who want to get to the next stage, or see more senior players who want to come back and focus on their family and also play at a really strong level.
And you've got two sons that are really good young pros, and certainly it was nice to chat. I've chatted with Cade over the years at the GB camps. It was nice to meet Logan and chat in Nottingham at the playoff final weekend. I mean, do they pick your brain, or is it like a chef? A chef comes home from work and a chef doesn't want to cook. Do you come home and you continue to talk hockey with the guys, or do you go, okay, we're gonna watch some Netflix and not talk hockey, or is it hockey all the time in the Neilson household?
Well, it depends. I mean, it's hard to be a coach of a young son, and I'm sure it's really hard for them to be, the son of a coach, a former coach, and a player. So I basically right now I just leave them to their business, and if they ask me a question, I have this thing. It's just I call it brutal honesty. I'll say that was really really good, or that was really really bad, and if they ask for solution, then I can help them to find a solution. At times, this year, for instance, in Nottingham, Logan was struggling. Of course, I would help him to show him how maybe he can get a little bit more opportunity doing certain things, whether it was from video or things like that. Um, Cade, they're two different boys with two different personalities and two different ways to process, which is, another thing you have to learn as a coach, because not everybody learns the same way I do. Not everyone learns the same way. Cade's more like me. Logan's different. So we have to find ways to communicate with these young athletes, and with the boys, I just give them as much love as I can, and obviously my wife's great with them, so we just kind of, it's just about the family, really. Hockey's secondary, but when they're there, if they need support, it'll be there for them.
Isn't that a wonderful sort of analogy as well? Because, like you said, the two boys are so different, but every dressing room you've been in, from your playing days to now coaching and taking over the reins in Glasgow, that's probably a really good juxtaposition of every player in that room. You need to know if one guy needs the arm around the shoulder, another guy needs a kick up the rear. Like it really is that for coaching now, isn't it? It's being able to handle the different personalities. It's not one size fits all. And that's with your experience. It's so valuable for the clan going forward.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's been players I've coached. Robert Lakovich, he's an absolute savant. Like he's a genius. You could just say something to Rob and just verbally, and he would get it. Excuse me. Whereas for me, I think I'm a pretty smart guy too, but I would need to see a picture. Matthew Myers, I would have to put him in the spot on the ice and kind of show him. So, excuse me, it's all just different ways how people learn.
Man management, very interesting. And we should say congratulations to Matthew Myers. Of course, he's announced that he's retiring from the national team. What a warrior he was, both for the Panthers and all of his stops in the Elite League. And it's neat now that Logan and Cade and the Liam Kirks are the new guys coming through. So to go back to your GB with your GB hat on right now, there really is exciting times. For the national team, and no better way to open up against Canada. I guess that's a good first game at the Worlds.
Wow. Sidney Crosby, Connor Bedard, and probably more will join that group. So I think the boys are excited. So we'll see. It's a huge ask, but we just want to go out there and compete and basically, find our identity, find what we're good at, and build as the tournament goes until those final games where hopefully we can compete at a more high level.
So obviously you're busy getting ready to face the Connor Bedards of the world, and it's a tough tournament, and I've been fortunate to be a part of those tournaments with you guys. Whether it's the win against Hungary to go up, or the win against France to stay up, and all the sort of moments in between. Liam Kirk tying for a tournament lead in goals that one year. We've had a really cool journey as a national team, and you must really relish being a part of that with Pete and certainly Kiefer when he was a part of it, and you look at it, it really is a kind of nice way to end the season. And then you've got to get to building a roster. Like you said, you've got to start to recruit the right people to build the system you want to be. So anyone who thinks that you're getting an off season would be probably pretty wrong here.
Sadly mistaken. Yeah, this is full time, and then obviously there's the recruitment side, which never ends. Really, in terms of the clan, we want to obviously find some Brits, maybe a goaltender, and then start to fill in import positions. But yeah, I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush at this stage. Just with the Brits, we want to try and find that core, find what pieces we do have, and then kind of work from there.
Well, Corey, I know you're busy. I know you've got 2 a days. I know Pete's probably knocking on the door and texting you as we have this chat. So say hi to all the guys in camp. We'll see you soon. And best of luck at the World Championships. And I'm only a phone call away if you need any help with places to stay in Dublin or anywhere to eat if you want to come over and have a visit.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks, Perf.